Okay, sorry about that. I ended up shutting off the video by accident. So where were we? We said, oh yeah, we'd put in all of these parts, but what we'll find is that this won't add up. We won't balance here. So if I add up these 400, 480, 513, 513,000. And if I add up the three of these, you can probably see already without adding them up, they won't come to 513,000. They'll be short. And the difference we'll see in a moment. I just want to explain a little bit about these figures. First of all, we got buildings worth 360. I'm just going to write this down here. This is what we got for in the deal, we'll say. We got vehicles, or vans, worth 58,000. And we got stock worth 25,000. Okay, so those are all the pluses, but also we said, okay, we'll pay off your creditors, and that was 33,000. So what we really got in the deal in terms of value is, let's see now, so it's 13 minus 3. Yeah, and what do we talk about? Oh, I better just do it one at a time, actually. What's that? 4... 18, 443, 410, I'd say. 410,000 was the value of everything you got. Is that okay? But what did you pay them for their business? Well, you paid them shares that were worth in total 400,000 shares, but because they were trading at a higher value, they were worth in total 480,000. Okay, so you got this, you paid that, or you gave them that. It seems like they're making out very well. The difference is 70,000, isn't it? And the difference is the extra money you paid them for their business above and beyond the value of the assets that you got in the business. And that extra amount that you paid them is for goodwill. It's for all of those customers, loyal customers that they built up over the years, that you now don't have to schmooze and try and win for your business just by writing a check. They're now your customers. So their reputation, their strong reputation for the good business they've been doing, or the good business practices, I suppose, that they've been engaged in all of these years, that 70,000 is paying for all of those things. So you have to pay them above and beyond what the bare assets were worth in order to gain that good reputation in those customers. So I'm going to put that 70,000 in here because that goodwill is an asset. It's valuable, and I'm going to have to add an extra item in here. Goodwill. It's an intangible asset, isn't it? And now when I add these up and I add these up, they will both come to 513,000. Now, you don't have to do these sums over here. Okay, that was just to explain what was happening. But what you just need to do when you're doing this question is add up the ones down here, and then get your total and subtract these three from your total to work out what the goodwill is here. Okay, next one, March. Let's see. Goods previously sold by Casey Limited for 1,800 were returned. The selling price of these goods was cost plus 20%. Owing to the delay in returning these goods, a credit note was issued showing a deduction of 10% of invoice price as a restocking charge. Okay, I'm going to pause this for a second to get a pencil because I think it'll be easier to explain it. Okay, so we said, first of all, goods previously sold by Casey Limited for 1,800. We're Casey Limited, so we sold goods. We charged 1,800. They were returned. That's the selling price. The selling price of these goods was cost plus 20%. Okay, so let's try and work out what the cost price is then from that. 1,800 is equal to cost plus 20%, or 120% of the cost. Okay, so we can divide by 120 and get 1%. And then we can multiply by 100 to get 100% of the cost, or the cost. Okay, so I'm going to say that's, you may have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is about right. 1,500 euros is the cost of the goods. So the first thing to note is those customers of ours, they returned €1,500 cost price of goods. That means our stock is going to go up by €1,500. We got those goods back, so the stock in our warehouse has increased. Okay? What happens though? Our debtors is going to go down because they no longer owe us the money anymore. Now, in pencil, I'm just going to show you what would happen if there was no mention of a restocking charge. Okay, it would be quite straightforward. You had charged them $1,800 for your for the goods, so they owed you $1,800, but now they returned the goods, so they no longer owe you $1,800. So your debtors should have gone down then by $1,800. Okay, then what you would end up with is plus 15 minus 18. You'd have a minus 300 here. Okay, and down here there would be, in the profit and loss, you'd have a minus 300. And the reason for that is because when you first sold the goods for $1,800 after paying $1,500 for them, you made a profit of $300 and you put in a plus $300 to the profit and loss. But when they returned those goods, that profit is wiped out, it's gone, so you have to now put in a minus $300 to get rid of that profit again from your profit and loss account. So that's what would have happened if there was no restocking charge. So let's now look at what happens to that because of the restocking charge. It says, owing to the delay in returning these goods, a credit note was issued showing a deduction of 10% of invoice price, selling price, as a restocking charge. So we said we're going to charge you 10% of selling price. We sold them for $1,800, so 10% of $1,800 is 180. We're going to charge them €180 because they were late in returning those goods. Now what happens then? If we're charging them 180, that means instead of reducing them what they owe us by a full 1,800, we're going to reduce, if you like, we're going to reduce by 1,800 and increase by 180. So the net effect of a minus 1,800 plus 180 is, hold on, I'll get a rubber to rub that out. I can't pause this. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. So the net effect, we said it was a minus 1,800 plus, I should test it out, this rubber. 1 sec. Okay, no rubber to be had anywhere. Well, one that works anyway. So the net effect anyway is a minus 1,620 if I just have a plus 180 and a minus 1,800. Okay, so then plus 1,500 minus 1,620 is minus, instead of minus 300 now, I'm only minus 120. And that makes sense down here as well, because down here in the profit and loss, I'm minus 300 because I've lost the profit from the sale, the original sale, but I've gained 180 because I've charged them 180 as a restocking charge. So a minus 300 and a plus 180 gives me a minus 120 in total. So I have the same total down here as I did above. Okay. Next one then. Let's do one more before we take a break from this. So it's a delivery van which cost 20,000 was traded in against a new van costing 36,000. Okay, that's the first thing. Got rid of a van costing 20, got a new van costing 36. Now, what I like to do here is up to the vans. Got rid of one that cost 20,000, so minus 20,000 from the cost of vans. And then a plus, we got a van which costs 36,000, a plus 36. Now, in a lot of solutions you look at online, that will just be down as plus 16, because instead of having the minus and the plus, they'll just add them together and put in plus 16,000. The reason I like to put in the two of them is just in case you add them incorrectly. You know, if you put in plus 15, that means you can't get any marks for the workings, because in this question you don't show a lot of workings. So sometimes I will ask you to put in two things in one cell like this, so you don't lose out on extra marks. Okay, so that's ultimately the same thing as your vans going up by 16,000. What else do we know? Was traded in against a new van. An allowance of 12,500 was made for the old van. We'll come back to that in a second. Depreciation to date on the old van was 6,600. That was the depreciation. So if we got rid of the old van, then its depreciation of 6,600 should no longer be on our books. So we've got to take that 6,600 out of our van depreciation. But how do we take it out? Since van depreciation is a minus, we have to put it in as a plus. So plus 6,600. Okay? And the next thing, one more thing, well, a few more things, but the one more obvious thing, I suppose, is we didn't get this new van for free. It cost 36,000, but they allowed us a trade-in, if you like, allowance of 12,500. So what do we actually pay for it? We paid for it 36 minus 12,500. That's 23,500, isn't it? So our bank account, goes down by 23,500. Now, if I tot up the top here, okay, this is the minus 20 plus 36 plus 6,600 minus 23,500. Give me a moment with this one. What are we talking about? So 22,600 minus 900. Minus 900. Okay. Then whatever that comes to, we also put down the profit and loss. And I'll explain how we double check it in a moment. So minus 900. And down here, total minus 900. So it all balances. Now, that minus 900, or if it happens to be a plus, that figure that we put in there represents the profit or loss on disposal of the old vehicle. Okay, in this case, since it turned out to be a minus 900, it means we made a loss on the disposal of the old vehicle. Now, if we want to check that out just to make sure, yes, we can do that. Let's take the figures. The old vehicle had cost us 20,000, it said. Okay, there had been depreciation written off on it of 6,600. So the net book value of the old vehicle that we got rid of was 13,400. Okay, that was the net book value. But the allowance that we got, it says down here, where is it? The allowance, the trade-in allowance that the garage allowed us when we were buying the new van was only 12,500 for a vehicle that we had valued at 13,400. So taking that 12,500 away from it gives us 900. And since they gave us less than what we valued it at, we made a loss. That's a 900 of a loss. So it's a minus 900 here. It's treated like an expense in the profit and loss account. Okay. Next one then. Let's do one more. That was that. Okay. So this is a type of entry that is in every tabular statement, 60 or 100 mark. Now, this is quite an old question, so there's only one item in here. Traditionally, in the newer questions, there's always two items in here, and I'll explain in a moment after we've started this. So, received a bank statement on May 31st showing a direct debit, that's money coming out of your account, a direct debit that you paid out of your account, of 4,800 to cover fire insurance for the year ended this. Okay? So what we do is, we know that we received the bank statement saying money came out of our bank, so we must change our bank account, these are our accounts, to show that we paid out 4,800. So it'll be minus 4,800 here. Okay, so like I was saying, normally in the newer questions, there will be two items in here. It'll be received a bank statement showing that we paid out something and we had a credit transfer received, mean money came into our account for something also, okay? And then we'll have to adjust both of them. But for now, and in the question I'll give you to do later, there'll only be one, hopefully. So, a direct debit of 4,800 to cover fire insurance. Now, this is the trickiest, well, in total, this is the trickiest part of this question. Doing this May part of it is not too bad, I would say, and I'll describe what I mean in a second. So if it was for fire insurance and we have an insurance prepaid section here, we know that we must put 4,800 in here also, okay? This is just, we're not really dealing with this problem now. We're going to put off dealing with this problem until the end of the year. This is why we have two December columns here, because we're going to, just do a bit of a fudge here at the moment and then we're going to deal with it in December again. So all we want to do really is put something into the insurance prepaid, which will make, and the something has to be either a plus or minus 4,800. It has to be the same figure here. But whatever we put in here will have to mean that both my top half and my bottom half will balance. So I think you can all see that it would have to be a 4,800 plus, because then we've got 0 here and we've nothing to put in here, 0 here. So just one more time then. The bank part, I think, is obvious. We paid money out, that goes down. And all we want to do is find one other entry associated with whatever it was we paid. Because they said it was for insurance, we put it in the insurance line. If it had been for rent and there was a rent line, we'd have put it in the rent line. We put it in whichever bill it's associated with for now. And we just put the exact same amount, but it may either be a plus or a minus. Okay, it may either be a plus or minus. Now, the reason I say that as well is because sometimes it will be bank up here and the other item will be down here. And so, for instance, if the other item was down here, to make it balance, I would have had to put in a minus 4,800, because this would be minus 4,800 in total, because there'd be nothing else up here. And this would have to be a minus 4,800. So either a plus or a minus, whatever makes it balance, in this case a plus, to give us a 0 balance above and below. Okay, and the thing is, we haven't really dealt with this. We haven't even thought about it properly. I'll explain then how we tidy all that up in the second December column later on.